the previous one.
Hello and welcome to IHS's second virtual information session. Today we're going to be talking about the Urban Economic Development and Resilience Specialization track. So we've asked for about an hour of your time, where we're going to introduce IHS as an institute, talk a bit about the course itself and what studying here is like, and at the end we're going to have a Q&A session and give everyone an opportunity to ask any questions they might have about the course itself, about how to apply, what some of our alumni do. So feel free to ask any questions you might have during the session. They'll come up on the side in the chat bar. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A session and we'll circle back and we'll try and make sure we answer all of your questions before we finish. So my name is Fergal. I'm the admissions officer here at IHS. And I'm here with Jan Fransen, the course coordinator for the Urban Economic Development and Resilience track, and Bea, the research coordinator in the same research group. So, as I said today, we're going to just introduce IHS a bit more. Some of you might know us quite well, some of you might not know us enough. And then as we move on, we'll move into the content a bit more. Like I said, it's focusing on the course content itself, what the research that we do, maybe some of the projects that we're involved in, but also our alumni stories, what our prospective students did before they arrived and what they did when they left us as well. So the Urban Economic Development and Resilience Specialization track, it's one of 6 specialization tracks we offer here at IHS. We have a larger flagship master's program in urban management and development. So this is an intensive 1-year program. Every year we welcome about 100 urban specialists across our different specializations. And so when you join us, there's a lot of group work. It's a lot of people knowledge sharing their experiences. But also almost as soon as you start, we're going to start really digging into the course content itself, the stuff that you signed up for when you chose your specialization track. So although there'll be things like action planning and general courses, we're really going to focus on digging in on the specialist information quite early on. So in block 2, you're really working almost entirely within your groups. So of a class of 100, you'll probably be 15, 20 students working together on the specialist topics. In that same period in block 2, we have a program of guest lecturers from local experts. We also have a program of electives. These are supplementary courses that we do alongside your core studies. So the whole idea is that you are really getting a comprehensive understanding of urban development before you move into the thesis period and fieldwork. So we understand that it's a broad field. You're not going to want to just learn one thing. So although you're really specializing within one track, you're also learning from each other and from all the different areas of interest we have here at IHS. So just to introduce the Urban Economic Development team, I'll hand over to my colleagues.
Yeah, so my name is Beatriz, and I am the Urban Economic Development and Resilience coordinator. The coordinator is Paula Nagler. We also have today here Jan Fransen and Professor Frank van Oort. We're all economists by training, and we're all lecturers and highly involved in the development of this master track. And now I'll hand over to Jan so he can explain a little bit more about his own profile.
So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody, depending on where you are. So my name is Jan Fransen. I am both teacher, consultant, and researcher at the Institute of Housing and Urban Development Study. I'm also coordinating our education program. My main field of interest is urban economic development, and particularly then I look at how can you govern, how can with policies, etc. Can you steer the economy of cities. And in that I look more lately, particularly on transitions. How can you make a transition towards a more sustainable economy, or how can we make how can you further develop your economy to reduce poverty and reduce pollution? And I'm working in the field of smart cities, and I'm particularly considering how can we make smart cities more inclusive and create entrepreneurship. And on those same fields, I also work as a consultant, as advisor, advising cities on how to make smart cities more inclusive in Africa at the moment, whereby I focus on particularly also how to make cities safer. And I'm at the moment working on a project on sharing information on sustainable development goals. How can we make our cities, how can we promote sustainable development goals, what can we learn from each other? And setting up training courses on entrepreneurship in Ethiopia. As a researcher, at the moment I'm working on publications and research on economic transitions in China, and particularly how do transitions towards a knowledge economy work, and on innovation of small firms and in the field of urban safety.
Okay, so back to me. So I am a PhD candidate from UNU Merit. I did my research there. It's an ongoing research I'm about to complete. I focused on structural transformation and innovation in natural resource sectors, but it's very regionally focused, which is of high relevance to what we're doing here in this master track. Just to give you some examples of the consultancy projects that I've been involved with, I've done quite some extensive work on things related to energy and mining, and also on sustainable value chains in the Latin American region. I've also been working with projects related to multilateral organizations such as GIZ and IDB on topics such as finance. And here at IHS, I am the lecturer for statistics and econometrics. And in the past, besides teaching this type of quantitative skills courses, I've also been involved in topics related to entrepreneurship and enterprise management in developing regions, with a special focus on Latin America and Asia.
So, why should you study urban economic development here at IHS? Well, the course has really got two parts. One is more a theory part, or understanding the urban economy, and then the other part is more a skill part. How can we analyze urban economies and make policies? And the topics we deal with are, well, first of all, competitiveness, but also resilience and environment and other topics which are really hot at the moment. So all cities have to compete these days worldwide to attract people, to attract money, to attract firms, etc. And we will discuss what makes some cities do really well and other cities not. So there we discuss urban economic competitiveness worldwide, who are the winners and who are the losers. But also we look very critical at urban competitiveness. If we all aim for competitiveness, what are then the losers? Are we able to reduce poverty while doing so? What cities can take part in this global competition and what cities are losing out? The second big topic is on urban economic shocks and urban economic transitions. The question there is, how can we deal with, for instance, environmental shocks or financial shocks? And how can we overcome those? How can we help cities and how can we help people to become more resilient? And that is important because we all know that there are more and more environmental and economic shocks happening. And that brings me to the third topic, and that is that we always try to respond to the latest developments, the latest theories that come up. For instance, at the moment we look closely at the Brexit. and how the Brexit will influence economies worldwide, or other trade wars which take place between China and America, or at environmental sustainability issues. There are many different reasons to study here at IHS. I believe one of the things we offer, which is pretty unique, is that it's a very international institute. Our experts come from all over the world. We lecture with examples from all over the world. And also our students come from all over the world. At the moment in the masters, they come from over 40 different countries. Second, we have an immense alumni network of close to 10,000 people, including people working at different ministries, different international organizations. The third reason to study at IHS is that Rotterdam is an amazing city. It's a beautiful, wonderful city to live in. And it's also a great example of innovative urban solutions. For instance, as a city, it wants to become CO2 neutral. And there's many policies to make our economy, our ways of living, our ways of developing cities more environmental friendly. Of course, another important reason to study here is that Erasmus University is among the top 100 universities, which gives value to your diploma. And finally, we follow up on masters. We believe in lifelong learning. So once you are an alumni of IHS, we hope to continue working with all of you.
Okay, so 4 special features about this master track. The first one is that we blend state-of-the-art theories and applied research skills concerning urban and regional economic development. It means that although it's economics is quite applied, and we also reinforce that knowledge by learning how to analyze data, how to reproduce different types of quantitative analysis, and this is basically our second feature. You will learn how to analyze a wide range of data. Could be at different levels, for instance, country level, regional level, and of course at the city level. This is a very, very sought after kind of skill in the labor market. We also have several trips within Rotterdam in which you will be able to apply the theories that you learned in classroom and see how what Jan was mentioning can be observed in the city. So for instance, this year students are visiting the entrepreneurship center here in Rotterdam. We're also looking at a fully automated port terminal, and we're visiting a place that focuses on circular economy. It used to be an old pool, and now it's completely refurbished and used as an innovation hub. And finally, this is a feature that should be highlighted, is that this is a very applicable type of master track. You can analyze a wide range of urban related issues from an economic perspective. And just to give you some examples, our master students have conducted research on topics such as migration. So for instance, we have a master thesis titled "The Internal Migration Role to Informal Settlement Increase in Urban Areas" in the case of South Africa. We also can combine topics related to entrepreneurship. And this is the second example that we have here, the thesis that looked at the big brand physical presence effects on the attractiveness of the urban areas in Malaysia. We also have some examples of FDI. we have something on green competitiveness and its relationship to FDI in BRICS countries, and we also have another one related to housing prices in the Netherlands. And finally, we have one master's research example that touched upon the topics of fair performance in the informal economy in a developing country. And just to give you an example of where the alumni is working, for instance, we have someone, well, these are examples based on the last 3 cohorts. Someone is a quantitative data analyst here in the Netherlands. We also have a town planner working in Tanzania. We have a mobility advisor also here in the Netherlands, an urban planner working in Arcadis in Brazil. We also have a sustainability and LCA analyst in the Netherlands. A consultant in London, data strategy advisor and business development in SEER data and analytics in Sydney, Australia. And we also have someone working in UNESCO in Turkey.
Thanks, Bear. So just to put a bit more, give a bit more detail on what we've already discussed. So I think as Jan and Bear have been describing, there really is no one type of IHS student. Like I said, of 100 students, there's going to be 40 to 50 nationalities in any one classroom. Our students, there is really no one type of IHS students. We have architects working with engineers, working with city officials, working with economists who are research-based. It's completely diverse. The infographic we've got here just shows the variety of or the geographic spread of the students and where they come from in the last 2 or 3 years. But in reality, IHS is completely international. The students come from different countries every year, and it's amazing to see all these students come together every year and share ideas, learn together. So one of the things that I think is so good about IHS actually is the things that they can learn every year from each other. It's not that a project manager knows more than an architect, but it's about these people can share and learn together. So just from a practical side, I know some of you may have already applied or be thinking about applying. Some of you might be hearing about IHS for the first time. As explained, so the master's program we're discussing is 12 months. So every October we welcome our students. And it's an intensive program. You're going to have to do a lot of work, but you'll all become best friends by the end, and graduation is September every year. The tuition fee for the course itself is €13,900. That is a flat fee, so everyone will pay the same. But what we do is we always recommend students apply as soon as possible. Where we are here to discuss financial support and provide any answers to questions you might have. We have a full scholarship and funding database on our website, and we are used to answering different questions on funding from around the world all the time. If you're not sure about something, I always say just ask. Something I would point out though is that students that apply early, we're receiving applications now. We do provide a €1,000 tuition fee discount for people who apply and pay before July 1st. Some of you may have already applied. I recognize some names from the chat box on the side. But if you are thinking about applying, just a bit of information about our admissions requirements. Like I said, our students come from all around the world and from a bunch of different experiences. So what we ask is that a student has a bachelor's degree from a reputable university, which we can check in our admissions office. We don't ask for working experience, but what we think is so important is that our students can share professional exposure. So working experience is something we really value here in our students. We are a completely international institute, but English is our operational language. So we will ask for proof of English ability at the admission stage. But fundamentally, when we look at an application, we are looking to understand that you fit in as an IHS student. that you're willing to interact and learn in a global scenario with a bunch of different cultures, that you're committed to urban development. And there's a motivational essay where we're really looking to understand what your motivations and exposures are, and what your interests are in the field of urban development also. So that's everything we've prepared, guys. Those are the questions. Those are things that we wanted you to know at this stage. If you do have any questions, if there's something we haven't answered, please put a question in the chat box on the side. We have some time now. We'll wait to see if you have any questions, and try and answer them the best we can. If you don't have any questions now, that's fine. Bear, Jan, and I were all findable on the website. You can find all of us. But if you have any general questions, if something's not been answered, you can find us also on our general email address. Just contact the admissions office. We're always happy to answer questions. I always say, if you have a question, the quickest way to get an answer is to ask. And if I don't have the answer, then I'm sure one of these guys will as well. Just gonna see if we have any questions. There they are. Okay. I do not see myself as an economist.
I see here a question from Rotem Karmi, if that's how I pronounce your name.
Hi, Rotem.
Hi. If I do not see myself as an economist, but as a city maker who wishes to accelerate economic and social innovation in cities to make them thrive, does the degree fit me? I would say yes. I think we offer a master in urban management and development with a specialization in urban economic development. So we are really looking for the link between economy and management, whereby we do not see an economy as an isolated thing, but we see it very much as a connected thing. So yes, indeed, if you do not have a background in economics, then I would say this fits very well. It will introduce you to economics, and it will show you how, as an urban manager, you can advance the economy to basically make life better in cities. That then also means, related to the question of Katika Kis, my apologies for pronunciation, do candidates need a solid background in statistics? No, you don't. There will be statistics in the course, but we will start from a very basic level and offer, actually Beatriz can say a little bit more on how, but we really spend a lot of time and energy to guide people through the process to learn statistics.
Yes, so I think these two questions are highly related to each other. So while you do see statistics, you study statistics for this course, it's very applied, it's very hands-on type of learning course. So every time we learn something related to statistics, we look at real life data examples, and we see how it relates to the topic of urban economics. And also, just to reinforce what Jan said with regards to the profile of an economist, yes, I think as I mentioned, the most important thing is to take economic concepts and apply it to innovation and economic development in an urban space.
And just to circle back to that, to Rotem's question and to Katika's question. So I think the one thing that our IHS students really have in common is that they have a solid background. They might be an economist or they might be an engineer. What they're really looking to do with this degree is to upskill. So you might have a background in economics or in something else, and the program is really built around the idea that you'll be learning as a peer group. You'll be learning from your classes, but you'll be learning from your colleagues and your peers as well. And also, that's really why we promote the electives that we offer in Block 2 as well. So maybe you have a clear idea about what you want to do as a thesis already. Maybe you already know what you want to do as a city maker. But we offer a flexible program with lots of different specializations, and you get to try a lot of those at the same time. So maybe you know statistics, maybe you don't. You'll have the option to go deeper into it or do it on the side as an elective if that's something you would prefer to do also.
Yeah. Maybe you go a bit deeper in the question of Sean on what educational backgrounds do you think will fit the course the best? In the past, our participants really have all different type of backgrounds. There are always quite many planners and architects there, so they really do not have a background in economics. There are also more people with an economic background or a background in public administration. I would say the fields of study we use most in the specialization is related to economy and geography and public administration. But by definition, I think if you want to find solutions in cities, whether they are economic or environmental or otherwise, we have to look for multidisciplinary perspectives. We strongly believe that all planners should know a bit about economics and other fields. So if you are a planner, this is an opportunity to add on that strength. So in that sense, it's very tough for me to say which background suits best.
Yeah. We have another question from Rotterdam. Maybe it fits more people. I'm going to live in Amsterdam during the year. How tight is our schedule, and is it reasonable to live in another city during the year? Wow.
Well, we had people living in Amsterdam before.
Yeah, every year someone does this.
Yeah, the Netherlands is not that big. So from Amsterdam to Rotterdam, the train takes about half an hour, I believe.
Yeah, we have academics that live there. We've got interns that live there. We come from all over the country. Some of us live in Rotterdam, some of us live elsewhere. An Amsterdam train, it's a great time to do some reading, maybe. I don't know. Another thing is that transport is great here, so it really doesn't take very long to get quite far. So, I mean, how tight is the schedule? The schedule is tight. You're going to be working a lot. Like, there's a lot of work to get done in the 1 year that we're going to be learning together. And it's group work, so you might be doing long hours, staying late in the library. But if you're worried about the commute, I think it's going to be fine. People have gone much further than Amsterdam before.
Yeah, just to give you an example, this year we have on average 4 tutorials and 2 or 3 lectures per week. So obviously there are some days that are more or less than others. We also have, as I mentioned, some student trips within the city, and where I would say it would be feasible, but just keep in mind that it's quite intense. Like, doesn't matter if you're living in Rotterdam or Amsterdam, it still involves a lot of self-organization and discipline, as you would expect in any demanding program.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Especially in a university like this. So
yeah. I hope that was helpful, Rotterdam. Just see if we have any more questions. Hi, Lucia. Yeah. So we have a bit more time, guys, but I think that's all the questions for now. We'll hang around for a bit just in case there are any last minute questions. But I think that was good. I think we had some good questions at the end of the presentation. I hope that was clear. Like I said earlier, for anyone who's joined late, if you do have any questions, if we didn't answer something, please do just contact the admissions office. We're always looking to put you in touch with the right people. Stick to our tracks, but should the time allow, will it be possible to attend other tracks lectures as a free listener? Ooh, off you go, Jan.
So we have a lot of
we have had people, there's a question here from Boris that is stating we have to know to stick to the track, but would it be possible to visit lectures from other tracks? I know it happens. There are sometimes people from other tracks joining our lecturers, and our students joining other lecturers. But the tracks are pretty tight. So we see many students want to, and in reality, not so many students do actually attend other lectures. Of course, after the specialization, there are elective courses as well. So if, let's say, alongside doing an economic specialization, you also want to learn more about environment or about land markets, you can also still look for an optional course dealing with that.
Yeah, and we also have several guest lecturers, and sometimes they try to, from other tracks, and they try to have them at a time where people can join. So I think that could also be a possibility of getting more from the other specializations. And I would say, because there is a lot of sharing amongst students, I would say it's not like you're going to be here and just you're going to talk to people from your track. You're going to be talking to people from other specializations, and you'll also learn from that. You'll know what's happening there.
Maybe it's also, by the way, I see some more people have joined, so welcome as well. The specialization period itself is followed also by the thesis period, of course, by elective courses and then the thesis period. And what we find is that very often in a thesis, people have topics which kind of link one specialization to another. You may, for instance, want to study the green economy, or you may want to study land economics or housing economics or so. And then what you see is that people in their thesis link content of one specialization to content of another specialization. And we very much like that. We think that's a strength of our institute, that we can be multidisciplinary. So in that sense, in your thesis, you can link up also with content of other specializations.
I was going to say the same as Jan. I mean, the multidisciplinary aspect is something that we're very proud of, but it's very hard to explain before you guys arrive. Once you do arrive, I think it's very clear. We're a small institute, and you're going to be exposed to all of our staff here. So you'll be working your tracks, but there's so much going on at IHS as well that you won't be cut off from. So maybe it's elective, maybe it's a guest lecturer, maybe you as someone in your class wants to do a lecture in your own time to the class and your interest on your previous research, or maybe you want to do a thesis outside of your track. All these things are possible, and these things happen every year really at IHS. I hope that helps, Boris. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Boris.
Okay. So, Carl, I hope some of our answers have been helpful. We have 4 or 5 people still on the line, so we'll give it a couple minutes. But I hope we've been able to answer all your questions. For you.
I'm just gonna.
Okay. Well, it looks like we've answered everyone's questions.
Good.
So thank you very much for your time, guys. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for the good questions again one more time. But I guess until then, we'll say goodbye for now. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, and bye-bye.
Bye.